SpongeBob movie, we never see Poseidon use any powers or magical abilities, except for lighting up his trident, but all he has to do for that is just flip a switch, and we know from the episode Trident Trouble that you don't even need to be a god to use the trident. And at the end of the third movie, we find out Poseidon is actually in terrible shape. If you remember at the end of the episode Neptune's Spatula, Neptune briefly turned SpongeBob into a god, and we can see that having god powers gives you a perfect body. So why is Poseidon in such terrible shape? Because he doesn't actually have powers, only Neptune does. Even Neptune's wife, Queen Amphitrite, has to use technology to zap someone, unlike Neptune, who only has to use his finger in the exact same episode. He is clearly the only one with powers, but why? To answer this question, we first have to understand the origins of King Neptune. Now, throughout the show, there is very little information on Neptune's past. I read the Wikipedia, I looked through the comic books, the video games, but I just couldn't find anything that would help me. But then I remembered there are SpongeBob shorts, which are like mini episodes that only air once, usually to promote something. So I started looking to see if there were any that could help us, and lo and behold, there is a SpongeBob short called The Story of King Neptune. Yeah, I guess that could be helpful. This short is about SpongeBob telling Patrick the origins of King Neptune, but it's not entirely clear whether it's true.
The story of King Neptune. When King Neptune was a little Neptune, his mother set him adrift in a river. As he floated along, a radioactive meteor fell to Earth. An alien appeared and anointed the infant with super Neptune fluid.
Is that really the origin of King Neptune?
Sure.
So King Neptune was abandoned as a baby and then given his powers by aliens. But SpongeBob is holding an upside-down comic book, so it feels a lot like something he just made up. And SpongeBob is not the most reliable narrator. Unless there's something in the story that we can definitively prove, I don't think we can use it for a theory. Like, do you really expect me to believe that Neptune got his powers from aliens? I mean, we've never even seen aliens in the show before. Except, we have. And they just so happen to also live in a city called Atlantis. Season 5, Episode 12, Atlantis Square Pantis, we see another completely different Atlantis, the lost city of Atlantis, a city that's home to a race of aliens. The Atlantean aliens traveled billions of light years to come to this planet and build their city.
For reasons unknown, this great city disappeared one day, but no ruins were ever found. All the inventions you take for granted were given to us by the Atlanteans.
They were a peaceful race of aliens who shared their technology, but then mysteriously disappeared for some reason. And take a guess what we find when we look inside of that city. A massive sculpture of King Neptune. That story about aliens giving Neptune his powers doesn't sound so far-fetched now, does it? And that's not all we find.
Neptune's Ascension, the only surviving painting from the great lost city of Atlantis.
A painting created by the Atlanteans